Republicans are terrified of the House Oversight Committee for obvious reasons. Under Joe Biden's administration, the committee was called the House Committee on Oversight and Accountability. The name was changed under the Trump administration to the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform, so they literally removed the accountability.
What's your message to people who are calling for a special prosecutor for these Epstein files to get them out?
Well, I think that we're getting the files out. I think people are being held accountable. I think that we're going to continue to bring in very powerful people for depositions and try to find answers.
House Oversight Chair Republican James Comer is running scared. How do we know? Well, I got a memorandum over here, dated April 17th, 2026. It's from House Oversight. And what did it say? Well, it says that Comer and the Republicans on House Oversight, they don't want to do full committee hearings, the traditional ones that you see depicted on C-SPAN and on the news. Why? Because they don't want bipartisan subpoenas to be voted on. They don't want Democrats to do motions to actually have transparency because, gosh forbid, House Oversight does its job, which is oversight over things like the Department of Justice. And look, we have seen a level of success with Congressman Robert Garcia and Congresswoman Summer Lee, among others, on the House Democrats' side, right? On oversight. They have accomplished amazing things on oversight, in large part, A, because they're motivated and they're pursuing the truth, and B, because they've figured out that there are some Republicans that truly believe that the entirety of the Epstein files should be released and that people should have to answer questions about criminal conduct like raping of children. Let's get into the memo because it's worth talking about. How House Oversight Republicans have suspended the use of traditional committee hearings in favor of conducting what they're calling roundtables. These are informal, off-the-record meetings, these roundtables. They are informal sessions with no rules, no accountability, no protections for the minority, i.e. the Democrats, and no opportunity to consider motions to issue subpoenas. These roundtables are designed to look and feel like a regular committee hearing because the members of that committee will be seated on the dais and the witnesses will be testifying as if they would for a hearing. But here's the thing. The witnesses are not required to be under oath when they're testifying at these roundtables. Republicans are blocking the opportunity for motions to be presented during the traditional full committee hearings in order to do things like secure testimony, to get documents, right? To be able to have witnesses forced to show up to be held accountable.
And there's been confusion with the Department of Justice. They've released some names, and you remember some of the victims said, that's not fair, my name wasn't redacted, I wanted my name redacted. That's because they were a victim and a victimizer. So there's a lot of issues as to why all the documents haven't been released, but we're still pressing forward, trying to get as many documents released as humanly possible, as many as the courts will allow us to release, because we promise transparency and we're doing everything in our ability to deliver on that promise.
Right, but technically the Justice Department for months now has not been in compliance with the law. I mean, they haven't released all the files as mandated. They didn't properly redact some of the released files. I'm not even talking about the victims / victimizers that you discussed. I'm talking about hiding the names of men that were in Jeffrey Epstein's inner circle. Do you have confidence in the Justice Department as it pertains to the Epstein case?
Well, I think the Justice Department has botched this. I don't think anyone in America, Republican or avid Trump supporter, would defend the way that this has been rolled out. Having said that, it's very complicated because of all the lawsuits. And here's another thing that adds to the difficulty in this whole investigation is we've met with the victims numerous times. My staff attorneys are in contact with their staff attorneys. I know many of the female members in both parties are in constant communication with many of the victims. And to this day, they have not given us one single name of a man who has victimized them. Now, part of the reason is because many of them have received settlements. So what they're asking us to do is to get as much information and make public as possible. And that's what we're trying to do. And I do think after listening to Attorney General Bondi, that there are legitimate legal reasons as to why some of the documents haven't been released. Those being, as I said earlier, there are many ongoing class action lawsuits, and there are many non-disclosure agreements that have been signed by multiple parties, not just men, not just businesses, but also some of the victims. So it's a pretty complicated mess here, but we're going to continue to do everything we can to get the answers to the American people. We want to see prosecutions. We want to see people held accountable, and we're going to do everything we can to see that that happens.
The complete lack of action and accountability in the Epstein case exemplifies how little respect this government has, not only for the victims, the survivors, but for the entire country. They think we'll forget if we don't see clips of hearings online. They think Congress will stop pushing for accountability if they take the word accountability out of the title of the committee that's doing the investigations. And they think that bipartisan subpoenas can be thwarted by refusing to allow people in the same room. It is desperate in every way possible, and just like everything else James Comer is attempting in his time in office, it will fail. Eventually, we will find out who's in the files and who's being protected. We have a pretty good set of guesses already. We'll probably also find out that the world's intelligence agencies rely on pedophilia for compromise, or maybe we'll just have to read between the lines for that part. Again, there's stuff to be seen if you look a little bit. They may be waiting for the midterms, they may be waiting for the 2028 election, but more than likely, they're waiting for Trump to die. That will make it a lot simpler to release quite a bit of this information. But whatever the case may be, we should never forget the loyal foot soldiers like James Comer and Pam Bondi, Mike Johnson, all the others who've kept the truth and any hope of justice out of reach as long as they possibly can.